Hello, my name is Scott Cordell, and in this video we're going to talk about GitHub basics. Some of the very basic things that you need to know about what is Git, what is the GitHub workflow, and how in the world you can use that for your projects. So let's take a look at what's on the screen here. This is week 3 of a course entitled CSC230 Website Design. And in this course during week 3 I introduced to the class using version control just some very basics. So what I want to do is run through a couple of these documents and answer some questions up front and show you some other resources you can use along the way. So first one is this Understanding the GitHub Workflow link, and I've already opened it up here on GitHub Guides. Now GitHub is a web-based product to use a product called Git, G-I-T. And what Git is, it is a version control system so that you can actually track changes in projects and actually maintain your project as a running project the whole time as you're making changes. Think of it as trying to change all the tires on an 18-wheeler flying 60 miles per hour down the highway. It's not something you'd want to do. But in technology, we do this all the time with websites, with software. Apple updates their product, Windows updates their product quite often as we're using it. They don't take Windows away from you for a whole day while they fix it. Or a Mac doesn't shut down. Sorry, we're doing repairs. We'll let you know Thursday when things are better. So this idea of keeping it running and updating it at the same time is something we do in the industry all the time. Now on the screen here, again, this is the GitHub workflow, and it's the one we're going to use for most of our courses. First of all, this light blue line here represents our project running, period. Just running. Here's when we started it, and it just keeps going. Notice, just goes on forever. This is our front-facing, public-facing, needs to be running perfect as much as possible all the time, code or project. So what we do the first time, if we need to make changes, we don't take this and sever the line, put a big gap in it, say I'm taking it offline and fixing it, and then bring it back, it'll be a new version. Instead it runs, and in the meantime, we do what is called branching. We create a branch, and this branch is a copy of everything that was right here, but running parallel. When we create this branch, we have to be careful of naming conventions and be descriptive enough, but again, it's a short name, so you can't say, this is the part of the code where I wanted to change the logo on the icon of the third page of the website. That's a bad name. In other words, we've got to be descriptive, but we have to be short. So check with your instructor about that. I'm sure there are going to be some rules that you'll have to agree on for some standards for code or branch naming. The next thing is, after we branch, we want to do what are called commits. Now commits are nothing but additions or edits or changes or updates or deletions or things that make the code different from whatever it was up here when it was the master branch or the main branch. And you can do this multiple times on a single branch. So these could each be 3 different changes or 3 progressive changes. Maybe this is where I tried the first thing, it looked so good, I thought I'd try something else. Everything still works, and then looked again and everything is still good. So we make all the commits. You'll name these commits, very short names again, but there is room for naming them very elaborately if you really, really want to. But it should be named to the point that you tell it exactly what you're doing here. After you make some commits, you do what's called a pull request. And a pull request is nothing more than, I think I've got something in these commits that need to be incorporated back up here. But the reason we do a pull request instead of just shooting them all back up here is this initiates a chance for you to discuss this with other people on the project or a manager or someone who's the gatekeeper of the project. So you open a pull request. In GitHub, the pull request actually will begin comparing your code to see if you're even merge compatible, which we'll do way over here. So if things don't look good here, you get notified here and you can start fixing it there. Once you open a pull request, you and your team can discuss it. Now in most of our most of our courses where we're doing code, a lot of the projects are yours and yours alone. There's nothing to discuss with yourself. However, I want you to get in the habit still of doing the pull request and doing something in the discussion just to make sure you know that in industry this is what we're going to do. Most of the code in industry is not written by just one person and just one person looks over everything and it's the code of that person. It's usually very collaborative and GitHub allows for that. Next we deploy it and we can test it here before we actually merge it here. In other words, this is the last chance to make sure everything works exactly as it should. If that's all good, then we go to the final step, which is merge. It brings all of those commits, the pull request, all of that forward, and combines it with the master, incorporates it into the master, so that our code never stopped, but we did all this work on the side and put it in. Notice this is the same way that Microsoft does their Patch Tuesday, or Mac updates their software, or a lot of vendors that have different software or apps do this all the time. This is something that can really get you ahead in the industry if you understand how to use GitHub effectively and how to do it in a way that actually demonstrates your capabilities of taking a project way back here where it was an idea and start branching and showing that you've done a lot of work on it and that you've slowly refined it into a good final project. So in this video, we discussed the basics of Git and the GitHub workflow. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.